Smile, smile, smile. Well, good afternoon or good evening if you're in the beautiful USA. And if you are overseas, then it's later in the evening, or it could also be wonderful Wednesday morning. I am Bruce, aka the guy in the blue shirt, as I'm known here on LinkedIn. And my method is simpler, faster, better. And what that means is that I help people save massive amounts of process steps, time, and money. And I do that with my own method. So welcome aboard, Cindy. And I can't even remember which city you're in. So how bad of me as the host?
Okay. I would love to tell you where I'm at. I am in the beautiful, amazing, Great Smoky Mountains of Tennessee.
Oh, cool.
Home of Dolly. So yes, I absolutely love it here, and I'm very proud to live here. It's a beautiful place to live.
Right. I can't have I been to the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee? I know I've worked in Tennessee on and off several times in my earlier career because I used to be a mega road warrior. I used to spend more nights in somebody else's bed other than my own, and I mean that on a business context.
Yes.
Not in any other way, but it's still fun, right? And we're here to actually talk about fun. And so,
oh yeah, fun is my middle name.
fun is it, and you're the queen of funness for sure, queen of joy and funness. And
that's right.
yeah, and I appreciate you because there aren't many people that guest with Tisha Marie Pelletier, and then I reach out to them and say, hey, can you join me one time? And you said yes immediately. And more importantly, you were so joyful about it. You said, and basically, how quickly can we do it?
Hey, I like to have a good time. I like to have fun. I wanted to say hi. Look, I have Linda and Susan are in the chat.
I know. And yeah, please make sure that you network and have fun. We can't be talking about joy if it's all going to be gloomy and doomy, right? So
no, I don't think so. I love how we have our brand colors on today, and they complement each other because your blue is also part of my brand. So that's really awesome.
Yeah, and talking about that, you asked me in the green room, as they call it on StreamYard, you asked me how that came about. Well, it came about through accident, and the best accidents are usually by your clients or suppliers, right, when they help you. So back in 2009, the royal blue color was recommended to me by a lady called Dee Dee Leahy in Dallas, and she helped me to figure out how to network in person for the first time in that marketplace. So I'll always be grateful for Dee Dee. And, blue is a very calming and confident color. That's why most of the brands, aka LinkedIn, Twitter, Meta, Facebook, all the big brands.
More joy.
Yeah. Or joy. Well, we'll come back to that.
We're talking about the really universal brands, the Fortune 100 brands.
Oh yeah, and beyond, and then the whole guy with the blue shirt persona came from my dear friend Gracie Ruth Melendez, who we used to co-lead LinkedIn local in-person meetings, which stopped in 2020, but I've restarted with a Mary Fane Brandt here in Phoenix, and we last month we did our 4th event, and it was the best event we've done, and we're getting better at it because
yay, hold on.
Well, we have a process. So imagine that we have a process down for that, and I wonder who came up with some of the process.
I know someone. If you need help with your process, I actually know someone. He wears he actually wears a blue shirt.
I know, and he has this quirky accent and sense of humor as well. Anyway, so finish the context. Tisha Marie Pelletier, I love her to death.
Oh, so do I. I wish she was here today.
I invited her. We'll see. Sometimes she comes in on the replay. But Tisha Marie Pelletier, context of that is that she was really my biz bestie when I was still in Southern California that lived here. And in August 2021, I came for a project. I stayed in a hotel, and basically I have my computer and all my clothes in the car with me, and I never went back. So
really?
Really, Truly, I did a 5-day project stayed in a hotel in Mesa. And during that time, I met with Tisha on the last night, and I had just sold my home in Southern California, so I didn't need to go back. And she figured out how to get me into a long-term Airbnb so that I could settle, and she did that. And then she actually found where I'm at now. I have a long-term lease on a beautiful condo with, well, you already heard the birds, a
Yeah,
patio with the
she's
birds that
not
sing.
even a realtor.
Oh yeah, Tisha Marie has a company called Property with Personality.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, and she works for an organization called HOA Associates as well that does a
okay,
lot of things. Yeah,
yeah.
Tish is a multi-talented.
Okay. Yeah, I knew her for more for the branding.
Oh, she's that as well.
Yeah,
She's true blue brander for sure.
yeah. And she's an amazing speaker,
Oh,
actually. Like,
yeah, and
I could only wish to be like her. She's so good.
she is a great role model, and she's got lots of stories, right? We were also talking about legacy, and that's important.
Yes.
She's come up the hard way, like we all do. There are things that we pour our passion into and they don't work, and there are things that we pour other things into that work, and it's that journey, right? So
I was just telling someone today too, like, I feel like people use their pain, which turns into your purpose. I think the majority of people, that's kind of how they get to where they are, that I've
right,
seen,
yeah.
including myself.
And well, and I think for you, or my observation of you, is not only you turned it into purpose, but you turned it into passion. So
Right. And then that's the second part. Pain equals purpose equals passion.
right,
That was where my text today.
right. And then, so if the process guy picks up on that, he would then say, well, that passion turns into performance, and
Yes.
performance then turns into
Processes. You need
extra-
processes, right?
extraordinary processes if you use the right people. So
Ooh, people, another P word.
people, that's right. So it's all of the PP words.
We got that covered real quick.
We did. But hey, I love your sense of humor. I like to throw off things out like that to see how the guests react. So good job.
That was just being normal. Unplanned, unscripted. See, the way I do that is called just be myself. So I never have to plan anything. I never get prepared for anything. We talked about earlier. I fly by the seat of my pants because I can. I don't have to pretend what to say, not to say. I'm just me, and whatever comes out or doesn't come out is what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, and you raise a great point because I should know better, right? I'm
Wait,
a
it's
more
pie day too. I have to add the pie in.
oh pie day. Yeah, for sure. Anyway, where was I going with that? Oh, okay. So I felt guilty and I think we all do this through all sorts of pressures around assets and money. I felt guilty to being in a corporate job that I was not able to be myself at. So, and what was funny is I was really good at it, but outside of it, I was really myself, and that's how I started to get into LinkedIn Locals and then LinkedIn Live hosting. And it was really interesting because there was a point in history where my employer did not really enjoy me being a LinkedIn Live host, and it was funny because I had some of those moments where it's like it got to the point where I couldn't rationalize trying to be two people.
I totally
So,
get that.
so at the end of the day, I figured out, what, I need an exit plan, and I worked for the next 2 years to get an exit plan. And in October 2021, I left. So
I think a lot of people will really appreciate that story, actually, because I think you are speaking to a huge amount of our audience out there that feels that they cannot be who they want to be for
right.
whatever reason, mostly from the workplace and maybe some of it from other issues as well.
Mhm.
My main foundation of joy, I mean, there's multiple factors involved, but for me, the ultimate is when you could be your authentic self, you actually have peace, joy, freedom, and just like there's so much joy when you could just be you. It's like freeing. It's a whole new thing. So I highly encourage people to get to that place. And I didn't wake up like this. It's taken 50 years.
Right. Well, I woke up late to the fact that, and it's funny because I met recently with my ex-boss, who I realize now I was a really difficult employee because I was in pain, because I was actually sick, and I didn't realize I was sick. I was sick of being a dual personality, and I fell into that trap, and I just didn't realize it. I mean, I knew there was something wrong, but when I actually did step away in 2021, October, it took me a couple of months to kind of rewire everything, not only my brain, but my routines, the way I approach things, the way I thought about things, the way I handled problems. I mean, and it's funny because when I met my boss recently earlier this year, it was like we used to be. We always used to have a good fluid conversation, but towards the end it was not good. so so it creeps up on you. You don't realize it's just little things, little by little, and you start to create that dual personality separation between work and non-work. And I realized I done.
It becomes tension and mentally
Oh,
straining and draining to do that.
Oh, I was exhausted. That's why I couldn't figure out. I was working smarter rather than harder, and I was still exhausted. And then it's only when I left and recalibrated myself for a couple of months, I realized how sick I was, and how much of a disservice I was doing, not only to myself but actually to my employer. I was actually not really performing as good as I could have done because I was leaving this dual track and it wasn't working. So,
I
yeah.
think 2020 during the pandemic was a lot of an eye opener for a lot of people because
Yes.
we were so busy in our lives, me being one of them. You go from one activity to the other, to the other, to the other, you like didn't stop. And then there was the pandemic.
Mhm.
And when you had to sit and get to know yourself and you couldn't interact with your people, new, old people, you couldn't see them. There was so much learning about yourself that transpired. And what I love about it is it affected everybody. It doesn't matter
Oh,
if it was
yeah.
you had money, you didn't have money, what you looked like, what color you were. It affected everybody the same. And I
Mhm.
think that was kind of a great thing, um,
Mhm.
because we all had to sit and determine, wait, what kind of life, like this is an opportunity for us to get to know what do you really want to do in life, right?
Right. Well, and the other thing with that is I'd always seen the possibilities of being able to work from where you choose rather than where you're supposed to be. And for me, the greatest thing, along with the development of technology like this, and like Zooms and like, Office and all the Teams and Skype, all the other movable, simple to use technology allowed us to basically work from where we wanted to be. And then, like me, eventually in October 21, I chose to work from myself from where I wanted to be, which was
Right.
Tempe, Arizona, which I've been based ever since. So,
And let's face it, when we talked earlier today about time, none of us knows how much time we have left, right? So
oh,
we want a choice in our destiny. We want a choice in our legacy, and you want a choice where you live and where you work.
yeah.
So it's great that you were able to do that, because if you don't take care of yourself, no one else is going to do it for you.
Right. And the other piece of that choice is, I shared with you my mantra is live life young. And recently I added daily because I was actually in Australia on Thanksgiving Day last year, and Thanksgiving morning here, but not there. I got two texts from two people that are close connections, and both told me, "Hey, I don't have some good news on Thanksgiving. I've been diagnosed with cancer." And it's like, oh, and that was like literally within the space of 4 or 5 hours, I got two different texts. And so after that, on the plane ride home, which is a long ride home, which I took at the end of November back from Australia, I was thinking about, I need to, I was kind of into the live life young as a choice, but then I realized, I need to add the daily because, today might be my last day.
Absolutely.
So, if you don't live life young daily, and then the other thing I did with Tisha's help is that, my 2023 word is dare.
Oh, I like that.
So my action word for this year is dare. Dare to be
bold.
Yeah, dare to be bold, dare to be, and the Japanese version or similar is ikigai. So I like Japanese words for something. So
back to time, which leads to legacy. So I'm writing my second book right now, and it is about legacy, and about living your life, design it the way you want to be remembered. And if you haven't started yet, then there's still time, but you have to live the way you want.
Yeah. Oh, we've lost Cindy, I think. Okay. Well, I'll keep, so Cindy and I were talking about time, and let me see if I can have her come off and come back in.
Some technical issue.
Yeah, I just put you off and brought you back in. So yeah, we were talking about time for sure. And by the way, people in the comments, we're not ignoring you. It's just that I keep my shows.
No, I'm reading them. I'm enjoying them.
Yeah, I keep my shows super simple. I don't put them up or anything, so I don't get lost. And so it's not that we're not seeing your contribution. We appreciate it. So Susan, Veda, and the others, if you are watching and not commenting, all you have to do is say hi. It's okay. We won't bite you. Because Cindy and I, that's the only way we know. Pardon?
I only bite on Sundays, so
we're okay. Good. All right. So, well, next one we'll do it on a Sunday then, so you can be biting on people. Yeah. So time.
Getting back to the book that I'm writing. So I was saying, if you could, it's not too late to do anything in life. Like I wrote my first book at 50. I'm writing a second book at 53. We're not too late to do anything. As long as you have a heartbeat, you are right on time. And I am here to show you how. So yeah, there's no reason why you can't live if you want to live.
Yeah, and along with that, we were chatting about, Tisha Marie Pelletier's influence on us both. And, she encouraged me. My technical legacy is really well documented. I have a book, textbook, journal, blah, 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 lots of courses. But my personal legacy is all between here. So this year, starting in January, I'm starting to share stories on a weekly blog, and it's called Rough Around the Edges, RUFF, because rough for a bulldog. And how that came about is in July last year, I went on a little staycation for a couple of days, and somebody took a picture of me sitting with this English bulldog toy with a Union Jack tie on, and she said, "Look, it's like roughing at you." And I thought, that's interesting. Anyway, so I came up with this title for my blog called Rough Around the Edges. So I'm telling stories going back to my earliest memories as a boy from a super humble, underprivileged background. Some of the lessons I learned. So that's available on my blog, which is a button from my website. So we'll see. We'll see what comes of that. It's
I love that. I'm gonna check it out for sure.
Yeah, it's funny because you spoke about me rediscovering myself back in October 2021. This has been even more challenging because you start to reminisce the stories, and then you start to try and write them down, and when you start to write them down, it unplugs all sorts of emotions that were locked away in your brain, and there's a lot of defragging in my brain that I've never done before, and this is an opportunity. The blogging is a creative.
That's why it's therapeutic too for you.
Yeah, and the brain does tricks on you, and it's funny because
yes, it does.
Well, it's funny, and how I know that is back in the middle of last year, I went back to where I was actually brought up on a project in the UK. Um, and, I did some of the walks that I used to do as a young boy, and it brought back all sorts of memories that I'd locked away and forgotten all about. And I got to talk with some of the people that have been there ever since the time I left. And yeah, it was amazing because, half of the project is in private ownership now, and half of the project is still owned by the city. And you can visually tell which are the ones that you got a great home next to basically a junkyard. And it's unbelievable how, and I used to live in that environment all the time, and I didn't realize how negative it was and how oppressive it was. So, but yeah, when you go do the walk.
A long time ago, I went back to the street I grew up on a very long time ago. And it's funny, in your memory, you were young, so you were a kid, and you think everything was so big.
Yeah.
When you go back and gosh, everything is shrunk. Everything looks really small and totally different.
Yeah.
The vibe's totally different. Nothing like, but it's also, 30
right
years.
it is, but again, the brain will play tricks on you. And one of my little walks I found, because I used to have to, I lived in an all-female household, so I used to have to escape from the house when I wanted some Bruce time. And there was also a lot of bullying going on the whole gang related piece. So I used to go and find literally a branch that I took the branches off to make a fishing pole and some fishing line. And I used to find this little hole in this small river that I could, get into, and nobody knew I was there, and I could fish there all afternoon or all night or whatever. And it's funny because I went back and I found the exact same hole 60 years later, and it's still there. It still smells the same. No, it still smells the same, and it still sounds the same. It was and I didn't realize I was in the exact same spot until the sound and the smell triggered my brain. It brought back, it brought back this huge rush of
absolutely. Smell is definitely linked to memory.
Well, and sound. So sound and smell together, and so it was. Yeah, it was.
I love that, actually. That is so neat. I love your story.
Well, what happened is it created then 2 days of turmoil for me because those short walks that I took, then I wanted to go do more and more anyway. But the smart thing I did was I actually had built in that 2 days where I had nothing planned. So even that huge emotional triggering of a lot of negative and stuff I'd forgotten all about, I was able to go still exercise my choice to walk back through it and deliver the memories, because I'd left 2 days in my schedule to do that. I don't know what made me do that, but I did it, and it was the right thing to do.
So good.
Right.
I love unscheduled days.
Follow your intuition. Right?
Unscheduled days. Yeah, for sure. Right. There's always a reason. Sometimes sometimes you don't have a reason, but there's a reason.
Right. And it's having the grace and the confidence to just go with the flow, which, a well-organized process guy, that's not intuitive for him to do.
No, you probably felt really out of water, fish out of water.
Yeah, no pun intended, since I was fishing, right? I didn't get any fish.
No pun intended.
Right, but it's counterintuitive, and that's the other thing, is that on the plus side of that, though, people will say to me, well, yeah, you've been doing this for a long time. What I do, that's true, but it brings kind of almost like this sixth sense so when I go to a company or work with a team and I try and figure out, hey, what might be some endless possibilities or novel solutions to solving the problem, my intuition takes over. It's unbelievable. And people will say to me, Bruce, how did you know to go to that spot in the process and ask those questions? And I'd say, actually, I don't know. And they say, yeah, that's just like bullshit. Nope. I don't know. I just followed my intuition. I ended up there, and it's amazing. It's always the right place to start. It's amazing how it works. So
that is amazing.
Yeah.
Years of experience.
Yeah, and I was honored by I worked in one company where we followed a lot of Japanese process improvement methods. So we used a lot of Japanese words. And one day I went to an outbrief for a project we'd done, which was a huge success. And they said, and the boss said, who was the facilitator? And somebody in the team said, Kiyoshi. And Kiyoshi means wizard or improvement wizard in Japanese process improvement. So that's the highest honor you can give.
That's funny.
Yeah. So from that day on in that organization, they didn't call me Bruce or the guy in the blue shirt, or they used to call me Kiyoshi. So it was kind of cool.
You get a lot of nicknames.
I do.
You. We'll talk about those today.
I've got a lot of bad nicknames as well.
I love Susan's comment. I have to. Susan's comment says, "Unscheduled days allow your life to happen." And I absolutely love that. And I try really hard to have at least one, if not 2 days a week that I'm not scheduled.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. It makes you more creative. We talked about that a little bit earlier. I don't like, that's why, I don't even wear a watch. I know my phone rings when I have to do things, but I really don't like schedules. Right. I'm probably your exact opposite. Well, you have everything formulated. What time? And I'm like, what party?
That is partially.
I bring the fun process.
Yeah, partially true. So back to Susan's point, it is a great point. What I have learned to do is, and unless it's really, really impossible, I schedule 30 to 40 minutes walk time out of my schedule. So it's it doesn't happen always at the same time of day, but I try and take 30 to 40 minutes where I do this walk. I do take my phone, guilty, but the reason I take my phone is that I like to take pictures because things grow very rapidly here in Tempe, Arizona, especially when it rains. And we get a lot more rain than people realize. They say, we're in the desert. But yeah, we are in the desert, but we get a lot more rain than people realize until you live here. So I love to go take pictures of how the blooms are blooming or reblooming and how fast they bloom, because it really shows me and reminds me of that, you can start over and you can change and you can bloom very quickly. So all good stuff. All right, Cindy's having a little connection here. Let me try and fix this. Okay. All right. So again, Susan, thank you for that comment and thank you for the reminder. My unscheduled time is block scheduled. It's my alone walk time. So here, let me just see if I can get Cindy back. Oh, she'll come back in a minute. So let me see the other parts. Yes, walking. Oh, good, Susan. So do you have a particular place that you walk, Susan? I go to a local park and then I walk around our community because we have actually a nice community garden, and it shows. I love 𝒍𝒊𝒔𝒉𝒐𝒅𝒆. I can't spell it, but it's comes in red and white and pink and yellow here in Tempe, Arizona. So I love to see how the 𝒍𝒊𝒔𝒉𝒐𝒅𝒆 grows. Yes, best exercise. I agree, Susan. So tell us a little bit more about where you walk, if it's not too confidential or it gives away any secrets, as it were. And yes, Vida, yes, it allows things to unfold. Yes, unfolding is again, when Cindy comes back, unfolding is having the confidence to allow things to unfold. And I don't know about you, but I was a late bloomer in terms of my confidence. It took me a long, long time to really step into my own confidence. All right, she's back, I think. Okay, no, here we go. Hello. Almost. All right. So anyway, so yeah, I was a late developer in the confidence arena. Some people get there earlier. So again, for me, that's been a whole new change for me. So, okay, I live in the country roads. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I used to live in the country. I've done metro life as well, Susan, and everything in between. So let me see if we can get Cindy back. Poor old Cindy. Cindy's obviously put so much joy and energy.
I'm back.
I know. I was talking.
Yeah, that energy wiped out the energy.
I know. I was just about to say that. Funnily enough, I was talking to Susan about where she walks, and she lives in the country. And
I'm here. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know. That never happens.
Oh,
it must be our energy is like off the charts.
We're draining the network. That's what it is. Oh, Anthony Reed. Hello, man.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Anthony for a while. Good to see you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and Susan, thanks for the ongoing
Well, with that
dialogue.
said, I'm afraid if I jump, if it kicks me off, I'm just going to just say right now in case that thank you for having me today, because I'll feel terrible if I can't get back in to thank you.
Okay, well, tell us what you got coming up and how you want people to find you, and more importantly, how.
Oh, I am so excited.
Yeah,
Okay, so
how do people get the books? Yeah, go ahead. Cover that in case you get kicked off again.
Well, the book is on Amazon and has 45 5-star reviews. Selling great. Very happy. It's giving people a lot of more joy in their life. But I also have a community that they can join.
Oh. All right. Well, Cindy was just about to tell us about her community, so I will make sure that she drops that information into the chat here afterwards. And as she said, she's having some technology issues. So instead of us going back and forth, again, thanks for everyone being in the comments. And Cindy said that she wouldn't try and come back if she dropped out again. So we will have to wish her well through the comments, and I will make sure that, oh, she's back. One more chance, Cindy. Okay, not again. Here we go. Oh, here we go. I was just about to close the show for you, but I'll let you talk to us about your group. So, and then you can drop it in the comments as well. Cindy?
Yes, no. I'm here.
Oh, okay. So tell us about your group, Cindy, and then
I'm so sorry. I don't know what is happening.
No, I'm not sure either.
I will put in the comments how to reach me.
Yeah, do that. And also any other resources or fun things that you're up to, and then people can link off the comment. Oh. All right. Well, thanks, Susan, for being on. So we will let Cindy go, I think. Try one more time. Third time's a charm. Nope, she's gone. All right. So Cindy will come back in and add the extra information. I apologize. I don't have it on hand. I should do that as a backup. And then just so you all know, I like to do a little brand story outtake. So here is my brand story outtake. And thank you all for being on. And thank you for your contribution and having fun and spreading some joy.
You're frustrated that you have no time and you just hate it. You lost your mind. You're running around the kids and the spouse, and the business that was once your passion has got you burnt out. So, consult with Bruce, the guy in the blue shirt. It'll help you find the truth so that you can do you first. See, it's all about simpler, faster, better. So you can save massive amounts of time and money instead of longing for the day where you can finally kick your feet up. Do yourself a favor. Call up Bruce. He'll tell you about process cleanup.
There we go. So Devin James is an amazing connection. He's up in Portland area. So if you have a need for a brand story, I nicknamed him the Brand Story Maestro. So he was amazing to work with. It was simple to work with him. And I just gave him content and he came up with that little brand story as a summary. So again, thanks again, everybody, for being in the comments. If you're watching this as replay, you can always put #replay and add your comment, or you can put #replay and get your questions over to us, and then we'll be more than happy to answer those thereafter. So take care, everyone. Terrific Tuesday. Be safe, and thanks for being on board. Okay. Thank you, Susan. Yes, it's a great brand story. Great way to finish up my live streams each time I do them. So thanks, everyone. Take care. Good night.